convert from one, like one case to uppercase or lowercase to uppercase, and also working with some simple ASCII codes. So moving on. So the prerequisites are you should have basic knowledge of control statements, both loops and conditions, and also you should know about arrays and their implementation. Okay. So what is a string? So all these are examples of strings. So alpha, D3V, exclamation L, flat 101, I'm a good boy, and so on. Like all these are examples of strings. So if you can see over here, a string is nothing but a collection of characters and numbers and symbols. So if you can see, exclamation is a symbol, all these are letters, and 101 is a number. So if you can observe over here, string is a collection of numbers, strings and characters. So if you can also see a Kids College, we are now doing strings, so we'll send you the task for arrays in a while. It's already sent to your mail ID, the one that you sent. So we'll continue with strings for now. Okay. So okay, we'll do that in the break. So okay, so how is a string stored? So let us take a simple example and see how a string is stored. So I'm sharing my desktop. Let us know if you are facing any problem. We are sharing our desktop and showing you a simple Raptor program. Let us know if you are able to see the Raptor screen. Is everybody able to see the Raptor screen? Okay, okay. Okay. So I'm first I'll save my code. So I'll increase the font size. So a string needs to be read. So I'll use an input statement over here. So I'll say, so I'm just entering the prompt. I'm saying enter your name. So you can see over here, this is the prompt. So I'm expecting the user to enter a name. So my variable should be name. So I'll say done. Okay. And I'll just output this. I'm printing the name. So your name is and name. So this is how it should be. It's simple. I'm reading a name. It's very similar to how you read a number and you displayed the sum of the two numbers. This example is very much similar to that. So, but in the name, you are storing a string. So I'll just run this. So enter your name. I'm entering my name. It's Surya. Okay. So let me see what's the output. So it's showing your name is Surya Kiran. Okay. So it's taking my name and it's also displaying. Let's say I do this. So I'm saying enter your name. I'm saying 10 and 20. So if you can see, it's also taking 10 and 20 as a name only, right? So if you can see 10, 20, did you note the difference over here? It's coming in double quotes, right? So let's say I put another statement over here. I say assignment statement. I'll say num equal to 10. Okay. So now let me run this code and just notice the change over here. So I'll just, so I'm entering the name. Let's say it's 1020. Did you see the difference over here in the variables? Name is name. If you can see for name, there's a double quote over here, right? Double quote 10 and 20. It's within double quotes because name is being read as a string, Whereas number, it's assigned a value 10. So it's assigned a value 10. So it's not in double quotes, which means that it is taking number as a number only. So if you can see Raptor internally, it classifies input as string or a number based on the different operations that you are doing. Okay. So let's say I do a simple operation over here. Let's say I do something like set name equal to name plus num. Let's see what happens. And now I'm displaying the name. Okay. So I'll run this code. I'll say name is Surya. I'll say okay. So did you see over here? Your name is Surya and 10. So what's happening? It's adding the name. So it's not like addition of two numbers or something. It's like concatenation of two strings. So it's just adding the two strings. So I've entered my name as Surya. The number is 10. So now it becomes the name is Surya 10. Okay. So this is another. If you know about operator overloading concept, it comes in C++, and so it's nothing but operator overloading concept, whereas wherein plus has two different operations in Raptor. It is used to add two numbers, or it's also used to concatenate two strings, or a string and a number also. Okay. So I hope this concept is clear. So now let's get back to our PPT. And so we've seen how to define a string and also assign value to a string through the input. And now let's see how to compare two strings. So let's get back to our Raptor program, and we'll see what is happening. So I'll remove this line of code. I'll remove this as well. So I'll read another input, another string input. I'll say enter your friend's name. Okay, I'll say F name because it's the friend's name. So now we need to compare two names. So let's see how Raptor actually compares strings. So I'm opening my notepad. So let's say there are two strings. One is Surya, the other is Vishnu. Okay. So if you can see over here, Raptor compares strings in alphabetical order. Okay. So or in the order in which strings appear in the dictionary. So if you have seen the dictionary order, it is in alphabetical order, right? So Surya will come before Vishnu because S comes before V. So Surya will come before Vishnu. So now let's see how string comparison is done. Okay. So I'll come back over here. So I'll just use the selection because I need to compare the strings. So I'll say, so what I can say is name greater than F name. So I'm just checking if which string comes before, so which is the first string that comes. So what I'll do is I'll output the name that appears first in a dictionary is name. Okay, because name is greater than F name, because let's say name is coming before F name. So I'll say the name that appears first in a dictionary is name, and over here what I'll do, I'll just say the name that appears first is F name. I'm just printing these two. Now let's run our code and see what's going to happen. So I'll enter my name. So I'll say Surya and I'll say Vishnu. So let's see what's coming. What's happening over here? The name that appears first is Vishnu. So why is it taking like this? So what is happening? Name is now Surya. So is Surya greater than F name? It is saying no, because Surya is coming before Vishnu. So what is happening over here is string comparison. What it takes is, I'm sorry, I actually said the reverse. String comparison, what it does is the one that appears later in the dictionary, that will be shown as greater. So it's not first, that appears later. It's later. So over here I'll need to change, that appears later. So now our code is okay. So now what string comparison does is the names that come later. So let's say you can try this out. You can give different inputs and see. So let's say we run it like this. Okay, I do it like this. Surya. I just note the difference. I'm giving capital S over here, and this is like small s. Okay. Now let's see what would be the output. So if you can see over here, capital S is coming. Capital SURYA is coming, right? I mean, like, why is this happening? Any idea about this? Are you aware of ASCII codes? ASCII codes. Is everybody aware of ASCII code? Am I audible? Is everybody aware of ASCII code? ASCII. Okay. What about Bapatla and kits? Okay. So do you know? So which alphabet comes first in the ASCII code? A small s or a capital S? Okay. So you're aware of that, right? So what's happening over here is the ASCII values are being compared for these two. So it first compares the ASCII value of small s and the ASCII value of capital S and checks if both are equal, then it moves to the second alphabet, second letter. So then it checks the ASCII value of U and ASCII value of U. And then if both are equal, it moves on like that. So as and when it encounters a value which is different, like let's say the ASCII value is smaller for one, it prints that because that is lesser, right? So then it comes out of that loop or that checking. So if you can see internally what happens in string comparison is it actually checks for the characters. Let's say I entered like this. I entered like this. Okay. So what happens it is the internal algorithm is it checks whether ASCII value of this S and this S are equal. So the first the first letters it compares, then it compares the second letters, third and so on. Let's say it encounters a value which is different. Let's say I type over here instead of R, I type something Q. Okay, so since the ASCII values are different over here, it does the operation. Let's say if this comes first, it prints this. If it comes later, it prints this. So that's how the internal evaluation is done. So I hope this is clear. So the comparison of strings. So now let's do some examples. So this example is like to check if a given string is a palindrome or not. So I hope all of you know what a palindrome is. So a palindrome is nothing. I hope all of you are clear, right? So just for the sake of revision, I am just saying madam is a palindrome because it reads the same in either ways. Like if you read it like this, it's madam. If you read it from the left also, it's madam. From the right and left. So, okay, what should our algorithm be then? Okay. So it should check this one and this one and this one. All we can do, I'll give a very crude method of finding if a given string is a palindrome or not. So let us create our new program. So what I'll do is I'll take an input. So I'll say enter a string. So I'm just entering a string. So let us call that as a input string. Okay. So I'm taking input a string and I'm storing that value in input string. Okay. So now I'll need to do some comparisons. Okay, so what I'll do is, okay, before we go to that, there's we can you've seen the array, you the array concept, it also applies to the strings. Okay, so let's do a simple output over here. We'll do is input string of 2. Okay, string is string is nothing but an array of characters. So what happens is, let's say my string is this. Let's say my input is input string equal to madam. What internally does is, it takes madam as an it reads madam into an array. So this is the first element, second element, third element, fourth element, and fifth element. So madam, so let's say I say input string of 1. So the output should be M. Okay, and likewise, so this is how it is internally stored. A string is internally stored like a array. But did you notice the difference in how we read the string? We can read the string in one go, whereas an array needs to be read one by one. Element by element only we can read in an array, whereas a string we can read it at one go. Okay, so please note that difference. And this is a common mistake that people make. Like whenever you're reading a string, you take it as an array and you read each character by character. But that is not the case. You can read a string as a string. Okay. So now let's say we'll run this code and see what's happening. So I'm entering Surya. So you notice this, right? So you see over here, input string of 2 is nothing but the second character or the second element. That is nothing but u. So that is what is being displayed. So you can understand that a string is internally stored like an array, something like what I explained over here. Okay. So now let us check if our input string is a palindrome or not. So now what we should be doing is, we should actually use a loop, right? Because we need to check each element by element. So what I'll do is, I'll save this first. Session5 example 2. Okay. So now what I need to do is, I need to run through the whole string and I need to check if the string is a palindrome or not. So a simple logic would be, let's say my input is equal to surya. I need to store this input into some temporary variable. So let's say I read the string as Surya and I store the reverse of the string in a temporary value. So AYRUS. Okay. And now what I'll need to check? I'll need to check if input equal to temp. If input and temp are same, then it means that the string is a palindrome. Else it is not a palindrome, right? So if input and temp are equal, palindrome, else not palindrome. So this is the simple logic. So this is how we can actually do this. So I'll do this logic. So what I can do is, so I'll do an assignment statement over here. So let's say, so since string is an internally stored as an array, so what I can do is, I can also find the length of the string. So what I'll do is, I'll say input string length equal to, so we have this function, right, length of, so length of input string, I'll say length of input string. Okay, so this value will store the length of this string. Okay, so now it's a simple array. So what I'll do is, I'll read the array from the reverse. Okay, so what I'm doing is, in this assignment statement, what I'll say is, I'll print this string in the reverse array. So I'll say, so there's no need for this. I'll delete this. I'll just output, just checking if actually the string is stored in a reverse order or not. So what I'm doing is input string of counter, or I'll say, yeah, I'll say counter. Okay. So what I'll do is counter, just counter. I'll have another so what I'll do is counter. I'm just assigning counter to the length of the string. Input string length. Okay. So just checking if so I'm printing the string from the reverse. So my condition should be if counter is equal to 1. If counter is 1, it will come out, and we'll need to decrement the counter. It's a simple example that we did yesterday also. Like we printed the array in the reverse order. So it is nothing but the same example, but I'm over here the array is nothing but a string. Okay. So now this should be my output should let's say I take an input as SURYA, my output should be the reverse. So if you can see AYRUS is being printed. So this code is working fine. So now what I should be doing is I need to take each character into a string, right? So now what I'll do is I can actually, instead of displaying this, what I'll do is I'll take a temporary string. That is what I did in my notepad, right? In a temporary string, I should be reading the string in the reverse and storing it. So I'll do what I'll do is I'll assign a string over here. So what I'll say is set temp string equal to temp string plus. So what over here it should be done is plus input string of counter. Okay. So let's see what will happen. Let's run our code and see. So I'm entering the input as Surya. So if you can see, there's some error that is coming, right? Why is this error coming? Let us see. Let us run our code step by step and see why we are getting this error. Okay. So I'm entering SURYA. Okay. What is the error? Temp string not found. Okay. So what did I do? I did something. Temp string equal to temp string plus something. Whereas this value is not known to the compiler, to the Raptor compiler. So it is throwing an error. So now what I should be doing is before I use temp string, I should initialize this value. So temp string equal to, it's a blank string. So what I'll do is I'm just saying it's a blank string. I'm just saving this as is. Okay. So now let's see what will happen. Okay. Now let me run. So I'm saying Surya. Again, what happened? So we got something. So temp string equal to AYRUS. Okay. So now we are able to store this thing into the temp string. So now let's do one thing. We'll just need to now check. Okay. So I'll put the selection statement over here. It's nothing but I'll need to check if my string and the temp string are same. So now what I'll do is input string equal to temp string. Okay. If both are equal, if you see over here, we are able to read the string in the reverse order and store it over here. So now I'm checking if both the strings are equal. If they are equal, I'll just say you entered a palindrome. Okay. Else, it's nothing but it's not a palindrome. Not a palindrome. Okay. So now let's run our code and see if it actually works. So I'll say Surya. So Surya is not a palindrome. Let's check if our test case or the madam thing works. So it works. You entered a palindrome. Okay, perfect. So I'll just clear everything. Okay. So now if you can see this code, it actually works. It actually what it does is it takes the input, it reads a string, and it's computing the value of the string or the length of that string and storing that into a counter. And now we are also taking a temporary string and equating that to a blank. It's a blank string. So temp string when we are starting with, it is initialized to blank. It has no value. Okay. And now we are reading the string, the input string from the reverse and storing it in the temp string. And now what we are doing is, we are at the end of this loop, we are comparing the two strings, whether the input string and the reversed string are same. If they are same, we are saying you enter the palindrome, else it's not a palindrome. Now coming back to this example, if you see over here, this code, it is not that optimum. Okay. I mean, like, we can actually do this in a very in a more easier or simpler method. Okay. Can any one of you like tell like what can be a more simpler method of doing this code? So I'm opening the, so I'm just asking, like, if can anybody tell a more simpler or more optimum way of doing this program? Okay. Sri Chaitanya, I'll put you on. Can you just say? Uh, I'll put you on this, so you can talk and tell.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Good morning, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You are able. We are able to hear.
Yes, I am Vasant from Sri Chaitanya College of Engineering. It belongs to the IT department.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, sir. We are able to hear.
Compare first character with the last character. Again, second character with the last but one. If you compare like this, then we can find out in n by 2 comparisons.
Wonderful.
String length.
So thank you, sir. So this is a very optimum method. Thank you. So I hope what sir said was clear to everybody. What he was saying is, I'll do it in the notepad. What he's saying is, instead of saving the string, I mean, like, reversing the string and storing this, we can do it in a more simpler method. What he's saying is, compare the first element with the last element. Okay. And compare this, the second element, with the second last element, and do it until you get to the middle of the string. So in this way, we are actually reducing the comparisons to less than the length of the string, right? So the comparisons now would be comparisons equal to length of string divided by 2, right? So because length is 5 over here, now we are only comparing till 2.5 or 3, right? So it's somewhat equal to the length of the string by 2. So whereas in this example that we did, we are comparing the whole string with another string. So whereas over here in the previous example, the comparisons are equal to length of that string, right? So over here, if you can see, always when we are writing a program or any algorithm, we should always see to it that our code is optimized, or in other words, in how much less time we are able to get the output. Okay, because in this world of business and all, people look at quick output. So, and also it is not good on, I mean, like, to do a lot of computation on the system, because it uses a lot of resources. Okay, so I hope this optimum solution is clear to everybody. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Any doubts up till now? Was the optimum solution clear to everybody? If it is clear, please type in yes. If it is not clear, please type in no. Kids college and MIC college. Is the optimum solution clear? Okay. It's Krishna Institute of Science and Technology. Okay, okay, thank you. So now let's move on to the second example. So over here, if you can see, we need to write a program that takes a string S1 as input and converts the letters into uppercase. Okay. So over here, we'll need to use the ASCII codes. Okay. We'll use the ASCII code and see what will happen and how to do this program. So I hope all of you are aware of the ASCII codes. So just in case you don't know, I'll just put up a resource so that actually shows the ASCII codes. So just give me a second. Yes. So I'm just sharing my desktop, so it will be easy for you to see. So if you can see over here, the ASCII values are here, and for capital A it is 65 and for small a it is 97. Okay. So let's say we are given a value. So for capital A it is 65 and for small a it is 97. Okay. So if you can see the difference is 32, right? So if I am subtracting capital A from small a, the difference is 32. Okay. So that is one simple thing that we'll need to know for this program. So I'll just close this browser. Okay. So now given that, we'll just use that simple concept and do our program. So I hope this example is clear. So what should be done and all. So let's say I've entered a string, say small cit. The output should be capital CIT. Okay. So now it is very much simple. What we should be doing is we should be subtracting 32 from each character. Okay. If we subtract 32 from capital C, it is small c. Subtracting 32 from I is capital I, and subtracting 32 from T is capital T. Okay. It is as simple as that. So we'll just do that example and see. So I am saving this. So I'll save this as Session5. Session5 example. Okay. So now what I should be doing is I should read an input. So I'll say enter a string. So the input, I'll say input string. Okay. So I'm reading a string. It is the input string. And now what I should be doing is I'll need to display something. So I'll say the string in uppercase is this upper string. Okay. So I should be doing some operations before I print this. So for that I will just use my loop, because string is nothing but that array. So I can actually use the same logic that I did in the previous example. So I'll find the length of that string. So length of string is nothing but length of input string. Okay. So and so over here I'll also reduce that code. So what I'll do is I'll have a counter, I'll say counter equal to 1 because I need to do it from the first. Okay. So over here we seen that there's an upper string. So before I use upper string, I'll need to initialize that. So I'll say upper string equal to blank. So I'm doing this as well. And now what I'll need to do is I'll need to run the code. So for that, what I'll need to do is I'll need to have an assignment statement and say upper string equal to, now what I should be doing is I need to be subtracting 32 from each character, right? So from whatever input string I have, input string of counter minus 32. Okay. So when I just do this, the lowercase character becomes the uppercase character. Okay. So what I'll need to do is I'll need to say upper string equal to upper string plus this, whatever is in this. Okay. So what this line of code does is it actually converts from lowercase to uppercase and it concatenates that to the upper string. So every time my string is being concatenated. So now what I should be doing is I need to increment my counter. So what I should say is counter equal to counter plus 1. So I need to do this operation till counter equal to length of string. Okay. So length string. So once this is done, I should display that the string in uppercase is upper string. So now let's run our code and see what will happen. Okay. I'll say CIT and let's see what. So if you can see the output, it shows the string in uppercase is capital CIT, right? So it's a simple operation that we did. We actually subtracted 32 from the lowercase string and displayed the uppercase string. Okay. I hope this example is clear. If you want, I'll just put this example up so you can actually see this. So is this example clear or you want me to explain it again? So okay. Does any remote center have problem in understanding this example? Just say yes or no. Yes if you have a doubt, no if you don't have a doubt. Okay. Shri Chaitanya, you have a doubt? Okay. What about kids? Kids College, Krishna Chaitanya Institute of Technology and Sciences. Okay, wonderful. So now we'll have some workout problems for you. You can actually work on these problems now. So please read this code example, I mean like this problem, and let us know if you have any issues or it is so I'll just read the question for you. Given a string x equal to x1 x2 and so on till xn of zeros and ones, count the number of 1 strings in it. So let's say we have this example. We have 1 0 0 1 1 0 1 1 0 0 4 ones and 0. So the number of 1 strings is 4. So just see if how many 1 strings are there. So 1 string is nothing but an occurrence of one or more ones. So this is a 1 string. This is again a 1 string, again a 1 string, and again a 1 string. So that is how we got 4. Don't count the number of ones. It is only the number of 1 strings. Okay. So if this is clear, you have 15 minutes to work on this problem. So please work out this problem in 15 minutes. So the time in our watch is 10:45. We'll go to the next workout at 11 o'clock. So please, if you have any doubts, let us know. We'll be here. So we won't be able to see us, but we'll be able, we are here only. Okay. So if you have any doubt, please type in the chat window. We'll get back to you. So we've got back our internet connection. So now we can actually see each other. I hope there's no problem with this question. So everybody is able to see and do this. Sri Chetan, you have a question? Some faculty members are asking implementations. So I'm sorry, I didn't get that. So I mean, like, want a hint like how to do this code, how to do this program? Sri Chaitanya, are you able to hear? Sir, wait. I'll, yeah, please. Sir, now you can talk.
Previous problem, sir, optimal logic for this palindrome. Some faculty members asking
Just a second, just a second. I am not able to hear your voice. Oh, okay. We'll put that up on the portal, so you can actually see it in the portal. So give us a couple of hours. So mostly by today evening, we'll put that up. Mostly by lunchtime, because we've just got our services back. So it will take us some time to put that up. So that was the doubt. Okay. So for all those who have done this workout, there's another workout. You can try this. So you need to check if a string is a substring of the other. So there are some test cases given. So these are some test cases that you'll need to check. So this might take more than 20 minutes. So I mean like keep trying. If you have any doubts, we'll be there to guide you. In the meantime, we'll put this PPT up on portal as well, so you can actually check this on the portal as well. I'll for the first program, I'm just giving a hint. So how do we do this? So I'll just open my notepad. So let's say we have one, and this is the string. So let's say this is a string. What we should be doing is, we should check if there's a 1 or not. If it is a 1, you need to have some counter, and you'll need to add that. I mean like whatever, let's say you have a counter which checks for 1 strings, that counter should be incremented. If there's a 0, that counter will be incremented, otherwise you keep that counter as is. As and when you encounter a 0, you keep incrementing that counter. That's all. I hope that was clear. I mean like this checks only if there are 1 strings or not. Any 1 strings. So all these are 1 strings. As and when you encounter a 1, you get into that counter loop or something. And as and when you get a 0, you increment it. So let's say you have a string which is like this. So over here there's no 1, so there's the counter won't be incremented. Let's say you have a string like this. So you have a counter. As and when you get a 0, you'll increment it. Over here there's no need for you to increment it, because there's only one. All this is a one string. So this is how you should be doing. I hope this is clear. We are Siddhartha. Is this clear? Is this hint? No. That's what I said. You shouldn't be incrementing it for every one that you encounter. You should be incrementing it only when you get a 0. You get once, the counter remains. Only when you get a 0, you increment that counter. So over here you get 1. So counter remains the same. Let's say counter is 1 for here. Initially you increment the counter to 1. As and when you get a 1, it remains the same. But when you get a 0, then you will increment it. Okay. Till that time, the counter remains the same. Only when you get a 0, you increment the counter. Again you come here, you incrementing it like that. You can do it in the same way, and you can also, let's say you're doing this and you don't encounter a 1, you can decrement the counter, because you have reached the end of that string. You can do that. I mean like there are different logics you can try, but this is one way. Only when you get a 0, I mean like then you can increment it. Otherwise, I mean like we are not asking you to find the number of ones, we're asking you to find the number of 1 strings. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. So what I was telling is, if you want, you can take a break now. We'll have a session at 11:30, 11:30, which is 25 minutes from now. This session will be taken by Dr. Vishwanath. So please, if you want, you can take a break now. Come back by 11:20 itself, so that we can start the session by 11:30 sharp. Okay?